Oh yeah, uh, Paul the Pipe Guy here, and we've got kind of it's a remembrance smoke of the second son that I had that passed away, and today's the third anniversary of that. His name is Michael James Gilson. He was born on 5/7 of 1990 and passed away at 9:30 on 2/22 of 2021. So today has been a day full of remembrance for him, being the third anniversary, and that's him. And he was, yeah, he was my he was my buddy. Um, and I miss him terribly. Yeah, just a big, gentle giant. He had some, I don't know what you want to call it, psychological problems or whatever, depression, anxiety, a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to light this pipe for him. He'd never tried this blend. He actually liked vanilla Sutcliffe or vanilla custard. Sutcliffe vanilla custard, yeah. But he would have liked Ahab's Comfort. Probably better. Uh, this one's for you, Michael. So I thought about him all day today, and especially around my 9:30 break, because when I had my 9:30 break on February 22nd of 2021, I went out and smoked a cigarette, and then I came back in. Break was over, and my phone just started blowing up. I could feel it in my pocket, vibrating. All kinds of family was trying to contact me. Well, I just knew something was wrong. So I looked at some of the text messages and stuff, and they said that my beautiful boy was found in his bed unresponsive. And I just knew, you know, we all knew that it was going to happen. Uh, he had been addicted to heroin, and the family had an intervention. We sent him away, out of state. I can't remember, 60, 90 days, it doesn't matter. He came back clean. He'd been clean for 5 years. But every now and then he'd show up on the job site, and it just, things weren't right. So you knew he was into it again. So around 9:45, my daughter-in-law from my first deceased son texted me and said he's unresponsive. They're working on him, the paramedics, and do you want to come over? And I just said, how long have they, I texted her, I said, how long have they been working on him? She says, about a half hour. I was like, he's gone. She said, well, you can come over if you want. I was thinking to myself, no, and I'm just waiting for that text, and then it came through about 10 minutes later, and it said, he's gone. I lost one of my best friends and my son. That was the second son that I'd lost. I'd already lost one son. And my body just started shaking. Uncontrollably shaking. When I went to the plant manager and I said, my son just died, and I was shaking. I didn't even know what to say. And he's like, well, I'll take care of everything with human resources. Can you drive home? I says, yeah. He was very troubled. I guess from mental illness, you'd call it. I don't know. But he was a sweetheart, The three things he used to always say to me, number one, he'd be like, Dad, can I have a cigarette? Okay, Mike, here's a cigarette. We'd be on the job site or whatever, working our family business. Dad, can I have another cigarette? And that would go on all day. And the other thing he used to do, say all the time, was he'd text me, Dad, this is exactly the way he sounded. Dad, do you have any bottles and cans I can pick up? Yeah, I got some bottles and cans. He'd drive his mom's car out here and pick up 3 or 4 bags of bottles and cans to take to the return, get $20-$30. And every time he came out, I always made him a nice dinner. He was very thankful for that. And then the third thing he'd always say, do you have a few beers I could take home? Yeah. And then the fourth thing that he would always say was, Dad, can I borrow like $30 or $40 till you pay us next time? Yeah, that's fine. It is what it is. So I thought about him all day long. And I have 2 things that give me comfort when I think about his death. Number one, regardless of how he died from a heroin fentanyl overdose. But regardless of how he died, Mm. He was a true believer that loved the Lord. And he had mental problems and so forth, and drug problems, and, other problems. So I know he's in heaven. The second thing that gives me a bit of solace is he had overdosed 3 or 4 times before. One time he had overdosed on heroin/fentanyl, and his drug dealer threw him out on the side of the road, a main road, like a piece of trash. Like you'd throw a McDonald's wrapper or, freaking empty soda pop can out the window. Threw him out of the car like a piece of trash on the side of a main road. Well, he got saved that time because the other guy in the car was like, you can't do that, let me out. And he called 911 and they saved him. Well, I asked him, I said, Michael, what's it like to overdose and almost die? And he said, well, actually, you snort that stuff and said all of a sudden you just feel real sleepy and you just go to sleep. He said it's very comfortable. So I knew he didn't die in pain. But, man, I miss him. He had his moments. If he got into like a, I don't know, psychological or whatever spasm or whatever, where he'd just go off on anybody, he'd say some horrible things to me through text. I'd drive 15 minutes home and I'd come home and there'd be 40, 50 text messages. Just not being nice to his old man, being very mean. But those were few and far between. So on this day, I want to remember my son. The good things about him. The day before he passed away, he went to his mom's house, who was my first wife. He always loved food. His mom had some of the family over and made a nice big dinner, and she said he was really happy and just loved the food and loved spending time with the people. And that was the last time she saw him. I'm very happy that every time I saw him, before he left, I always got a big hug. I kissed him on the cheek and told him I loved him. So, he always knew I loved him. And I did. I still do. And I miss him. So, that's the way it rolls. Got one son left. 3 stepsons that are like my own sons. And 4 daughters. That's my beautiful boy Mike. Lived to be 30 years old. He always said he wouldn't make it past 27, but he did. And I was thankful to have him for the 30 years that I did. Anyways, I'm gonna finish this bowl and settle down for the night and think about him. Over and out.